Hello, dear friends. It is difficult to coexist between deep reflection and the mare magnum of current events. Opinion piece. Why is it taking so long? Snail race. At snail's pace. Everything goes in slow motion. Why are they kicking the can? Why do they drag their feet? The good guys have problems. The law of one would be the solution. The option of service to others. Multiple signs of system change. Let's start. The Western economic system is in recession due to sanctions against Russia, trade disputes with China, and restrictions imposed during the health crisis. But I believe that the change in the system will not take place until a crash like the one on 1929 is repeated, or the economic pressure of the BRICS countries becomes unbearable. History teaches us that all changes occur after an absolute crash of an old system, and that crash has not yet occurred, although it is on the way. However, Ranra is of the opinion that the real reason for the global financial reset is taking so long to manifest is because the white hats are in trouble, not because they need to wake up more people, as is often argued. I hope they have a good reason to kick the can. Fallacy. How could they wake up more people much more effectively by giving them more true information and less cryptic hints, which mostly wake up people who have already woken up but are still too subtle for people who are still sleeping, i.e., do they go over your head in most cases? If it really were a matter of simply waking up more people, the white hats could allow the economy to crash, get debt and tax forgiveness, replace the income tax with a much lower sales tax, and apply the GSRA program. This would convince the sleepers that something has really changed. But now, it would be ridiculous for the white hats to always insist on subtle advice and encrypted messages to wake up the sleepers because of their ineffectiveness, because they have lied as a strategy, and this tactic has made them lose credibility. We know that all military strategy is based on lying to the enemy, but the public is not the enemy but the ally. But they have this mantra that they couldn't tell us the truth because the public can't handle the truth. Only they can, in their opinion. The real reason they haven't applied VR or RV yet, and some known preliminaries, would be because they are in trouble, as this fight has turned into a war of good versus evil. But because the white hats have this idea that you can't handle the truth, they tell you that the reason things aren't moving faster is because they have to wake up more people, and at the same time continue to be very inefficient with waking up more people, which becomes a vicious circle, like a snake beating its own tail. Maybe a little more realism, honesty about what works and doesn't work would help. Personal solution. So, the real way to make things move faster would be to help the white hats who are still working on the good side, even though they are in trouble and we are not completely satisfied with them because they don't have a high enough frequency for a quick win, Ranra opines. Therefore, the solution would be for each of us to increase the frequency to neutralize the low vibration. If you want to continue waiting for the white hats to fix your life, you could wait forever because they have problems. To get quick results, we need to send in the cavalry, and that cavalry is ourselves. Who else can raise the frequency to neutralize the low vibration and make it high? This is us, and we are already doing it to some degree. And this explains a lot why the White Hats have made some progress. But we need to really step it up now, because we don't want to wait another 150 years for the global financial reset to happen. So, can we improve now? Beginning to wield the magic of the Law of One, which is a spiritual philosophy that seeks to provide a holistic perspective of the nature of the universe and human existence. The Law of One. The Law of One emphasizes that everything in the universe is interconnected and is a manifestation of a single source of consciousness, often referred to as infinite intelligence or creator. Everything that exists is part of this infinite unity. The philosophy of the Law of One describes a system of densities or levels of consciousness, from the first density, which is inanimate matter, to the eighth density, which would be the unification with the source. Humanity is considered to be in third density, a state in which individual consciousness develops and becomes self-aware. The importance of experiencing duality and polarity for growth and spiritual evolution is highlighted. The integration and balance of these polarities are fundamental to the evolution of the soul. It is stated that all conscious beings have free will to choose their evolutionary path, but the option of service to others stands out as a path of growth and spiritual expansion, where each one seeks the well-being and help of others, without forget personal care. The Law of One suggests that the spiritual is a process of expanding consciousness and connecting with the entire cosmos and with all forms of life. Talk about the existence of cosmic cycles of evolution and learning, and how souls incarnate repeatedly to experience different lessons and opportunities for growth. Mention spiritual and universal laws, such as the law of cause and effect and the law of attraction, which govern reality and human experience. Reset news. The 8th month is considered new beginnings in biblical terms. The pressure to keep quiet is not as severe in Asia. They are not trying to hide things like the central banks of the West do. Brazil, Venezuela, Vietnam and Zimbabwe comply with Basel III as of August 1st. In Vietnam, they adopted Basel III early on and are very profitable. Banks that do not fight this movement are more financially sound. Prepaid cards in Vietnam are gaining ground. It is a way for smart contracts to ensure that funds are available on both sides of a trade. Container rates plummet 75% in international freight. 36 countries conspire against the dollar with a gold-backed currency, according to Robert Kiyosaki. Russian state television has shocked international financial circles by confirming the launch of a new gold-backed trading currency. Iraq must be careful since the US controls a good part of its flow of money. India and Brazil are also working on the razor's edge with the US and the BRICS. The expansion of the BRICS configures a new geopolitical map. Ends US hope in Iraq with oil for gas deal with Iran. Former Goldman Sachs executive predicts that cryptocurrency users will grow to 1.2 billion. We are in the initial stage of the world market in real values. A contingency plan will emerge. The latest plan was proposed last week, Basel III. The transformation of the banking system is about to be glimpsed. Solar storm watch. Minor storms are possible on August 4th and 5th when one or more waves of radiation are expected to hit Earth from the eruption of a magnetic filament on July 31st, plus multiple eruptions. Africa. Half of Ghana's public debt for $7 billion forgiven. Zimbabwe has officially applied to join the new development banks of the BRICS. Anti-French protests in Niger after the coup. A Western military intervention in Niger would be perceived as a new colonization, Italy believes. War crimes in Sudan have committed war crimes both sides, says Amnesty. China. The Shanghai Stock Exchange goes to blockchain technology. They have until 2025 to complete their plan. China's currency regulators ask banks in plural to reduce their patches of dollars. The digital yuan is used to settle commodity trades. Industrial Bank is the first bank to incorporate digital renminbi in commodity trading. The banking giants want to establish a Chinese-style social credit system. The US prohibits imports from 2 Chinese companies for forced labor in Xinjiang. The Bank of Japan threatens to unleash financial turmoil. The Three Gorges Dam would be at risk of breaking due to its flooding. Economy. August can bring shocks to the markets, as has been confirmed in the first 2 days. Statistically, it's one of the worst months of the year. Fitch downgrades the US debt rating. The US increases debt issuance, causing the massive sale of Treasury bonds. The stock market plunged on Monday after downgrading the credit rating. JP Morgan announces an unavoidable recession. Mortgage giant Fannie Mae says a recession is coming at the end of the year. The financier James Rickard warns that the international monetary system will collapse. The Wall Street jackal bilked hundreds of millions with fake gold mines. George Graham Rice's fortune reached 100 million. Europe. Vienna repeats in 2023 as the best city in the world to live. Italian fishermen built underwater sculptures to stop illegal fishing. The European economy loses steam in the second quarter. The Euribor continues its rise and closes July above 4%. Goodbye to cheap money. Interest rates are frozen at their highest in 2 decades. Banks multiply their liquidity requests to the ECB by more than 10. Russia says it is ready to return to the Ukrainian grain export agreement. The Italian cyber agency has detected an attack against 5 banks. Fear would be the opportunity for the Great Reset, says the daughter of the founder of the Davos Forum. The accumulation of forces in the Persian Gulf, a sign of the conflict with Iran. Spain. Spain received 37.5 million foreign tourists up to June, fewer than in 2019, but spending 14% more. Banks shoot up their profit in Spain to 5,300 million euros. The Spanish economy is showing signs of slowing down, and the first alarm bells are ringing. Spain, the European country with the least capacity to generate jobs. Spain has 2% more employees than in 2008, but works 7% less. Telefónica plunged more than 7% on the stock market after Vodafone stole its main customer in Germany. Americas. Hundreds of immigrants sleep on the sidewalks of New York, and the authorities ask for federal help. More and more people sleep on the streets of London. Environmentalists denounce an oil spill on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. The youth of Mexico continue to be cannon fodder in the war against drug trafficking. Colombian mercenaries in Ukraine are despised by their hosts. The Bolivian embassy asked Russia to join the BRICS. Bolivia and Chile unfreeze their relations to protect the border they share. Chile transfers the presidency of the Pacific Alliance to Peru and unblocks the bloc. The remains of the largest animal of all time, a whale, are discovered in Peru. Rural communities in northern Chile trap water from the fog. The US offers second-hand F-16s to Buenos Aires. The Argentine strategic gas pipeline completes its filling and becomes operational. Native peoples protest against the constitutional reform of Jujuy in Argentina. Argentina's international reserves are at their lowest level since 2006. In quotes, Anne Frank Barger with Fries Adolf. Menu that generated a repudiation in Argentina. Brazil is the main obstacle against the expansion of the BRICS, says the sources. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.